Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Norbit, and I am the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at CORFAC International Headquarters based in Chicago. And thank you for joining us. This is one of our bi-monthly marketing specialty group calls, which are designed for marketing professionals at our CORFAC member firms to share ideas and to get an opportunity to talk and just bounce strategies off of one another and share best practices. So I'm going to turn it over to our speaker and moderator today, Patricia True-Agos. Patricia is with KTPR, and she is our third-party marketing consultant who works with CORFAC and has been with us for the last 3 years. And Patricia is going to take it away and lead our session on developing relationships with commercial real estate media outlets.
Hello, everybody. Well, we have a special treat today. We have a guest speaker, Kristin Hiller with Heartland Real Estate Business. So we're going to do a Q&A with her, and then we're going to open it up to questions. If anybody has anything, they can put it in the comments, or you can raise your hand and ask a question once we've gone through a few of the questions that we've set up to talk with her about first. But to introduce Kristin, she's the editor of Heartland Real Estate Business. Kristin is Heartland Real Estate Business, which is a monthly commercial real estate publication that covers sales, leases, loans, and development for the entire Midwest region. In addition to the print magazine, there's a digital edition, e-newsletter, and daily web news. Kristin has worked at France Media for nearly 5 years now, and also has a hand in the publication of Northeast Real Estate Business, as well as several of the company's new affordable housing magazines, which launched this year. And a little bit about the parent company, France Media. It's a business-to-business media company specializing in the publication and production of magazines, websites, e-newsletters, and conferences in the markets of commercial real estate, industrial, retail, office, multifamily, affordable housing, student housing, senior housing, medical office buildings, as well as facilities, management, and maintenance. And just to list some of their publications, Kristin, you can let me know if I leave anything out here. Shopping center business, ancillary retail, California Centers, Student Housing Business, Seniors Housing Business, Southeast Affordable Housing Business, Texas Affordable Housing Business, Western Affordable Housing Business, Midwest Affordable Housing Business, Northeast Affordable Housing Business, Southeast Real Estate Business, Western Real Estate Business, Heartland Real Estate Business, Texas Real Estate Business, Northeast Real Estate Business, RE Business Online, and Retail and Restaurant Facility Business. Did I leave anything out, Kristin?
I don't think so.
It's a lot of publications covering everything. So just to get started on some questions, we thought that this would be a nice time to just have a one-on-one with a reporter, which we don't usually get. So this is great to sort of pick your brain a little bit and see what you're thinking about every day as you get all of our pitches and press releases and everything coming at you. So to start with our first question, when you receive an email with a press release or story pitch, what catches your eye now that we're doing everything, online and through emails? What catches your eye in a subject line, or does it even matter?
Yeah, I mean, for this one, I was going to say, I don't really feel that it matters too much. I wouldn't say that there's a word or anything that would lead me towards one release over another, because I flag all the press releases I receive and I consider them all. So as long as I know it's a press release, then it's in my consideration for the daily news.
So we don't have to worry about clickbait or finding that flashy
word. And some people will put my name in the subject line. I'm like, I don't understand why you're doing that.
Okay, well, speaking of press releases, what format? I know that this is something that I've tried to tweak over the years to figure out what is important to a reporter as they get the press releases. So what format do you appreciate? Is it just list the facts? Do you want a little more information? Do you want it to be almost a small article? What do you appreciate when you receive a press release?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the longer the better, just because when it's longer, then I can kind of pick and choose what I need. I mean, when I'm writing our daily news briefs, those are typically pretty small, just like a paragraph. But if your press release is too short, then I'm not going to have enough to go off of. And so a rule of thumb I would say for the press releases is to do as longer is better.
Is there anything in a press release that if it's missing, you just sort of toss it out?
If there's not enough details, I mean, for sales, like we can run it if the price is not disclosed, but I would need like then the buyer and the seller, I would need something, to keep it going. So if there's too much missing, then I can't really run it.
Okay, good. And then I also know that you receive a ton of press releases a day. I don't know if you actually have like a figure in your mind, if it's hundreds or how many you receive a day, but how quickly should somebody follow up, or should they just sort of let you, like give you a few days or weeks, or how long should they?
Yeah, I mean, I do receive a high volume, so that's why I don't like respond to them directly. If someone emails me asking about it, then I will respond. But I would say, I mean, some people will email me a press release like one day and then follow up immediately the next day. And I'm just like, I have received it, but I just haven't had a chance to publish it. It doesn't mean it's not going to get published. We publish 5 news briefs every day for each region. So each day I'm picking 5 out of all the ones I receive. But yeah, I mean, I flag them all, like I keep track of them all. So I promise I'm not like ignoring you.
Okay, good. And then when you read a pitch for a story, I know that you mentioned this with a press release, more is better, but when it comes to a pitch and not a press release, do you prefer brief or do you prefer something a little longer?
So for this, I'd say the pitch is probably shorter is better. So I can just kind of scan it and see immediately if it matches up with something that we would do. Because I receive several of these as well, and a lot of them are just outside of our traditional coverage. So I can't really consider it. So we're pretty, bread and butter, just sticking to the core real estate sectors. So like an example I received today was somebody wanted to talk to me about murals they're putting on buildings. And so like something like that, I mean, I would consider that if you were to write a byline, but that's not something that like I would pursue as a story that I would write.
And what is, speaking of bylines, what is your ratio of the stories that you write versus accepting bylines? Do you accept those?
Yeah. So each month in our magazines, we have what we call our market highlight section. So those spotlight different cities in the region. So those are always bylined. So I'm always either taking ones that are pitched to me or I'm reaching out to people. So like I'm working on the June issue right now, and Chicago and Des Moines are our market highlights. So I've asked people to write for those. And so that would be the opportunity for someone to come in and either give me an idea, or I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, like I'm really needing people. So, but for the stories I write, they pretty much are on our editorial calendar. And so I usually do like 2 features each month, and those are mapped out for the entire year. So I don't really have much flexibility to go beyond what's on the calendar.
Okay, great. And then what type of news? You mentioned that you just received something regarding murals. So what type of news is most important to you? Do you really just look for deal specific, or something outside of the box, murals, things going on in an area or region? What's attractive to you?
Yeah, I would say for us, it's just more of your traditional deals, your sales, your leases, loans, and then development, all types of projects. So we kind of, just stick to that bread and butter. But the stuff beyond that, like sometimes I receive like infrastructure or technology. Those things are not really what we're doing in our daily reporting.
Okay, great. And then with the deal, so does the size matter the most? Is it the dollar value that matters the most? Is it something unique about the deal? What is it that jumps out at you first?
Yeah, so our rule of thumb is we don't like to publish anything that's under $1 million. So we do kind of hold that threshold. But beyond that, I would say like obviously bigger deals, bigger square footage, bigger dollar amounts, those are going to take precedence when I'm picking the daily news each day. And it also kind of depends on the volume of releases I have to choose from. So if I don't have many for like a certain week, then those smaller deals are going to get published. So it just kind of depends on everything I have.
Okay, great. Is there any Anything that that I didn't ask right now that has come to mind since we've been talking that you wanted to let everybody know?
I guess I would just say that I write exclusively for the Midwest, but I'm happy to take any releases that anyone has and I'll forward them to the proper editor. We always do that. If we receive something outside of our region, then we immediately forwarded it to the proper person.
Okay, great. And one thing I didn't touch on here is I know that you've started doing, video interviews and conferences and things like that. How much of a hand do you have in those types of products?
Yeah, we have started doing a lot of webinars since the pandemic hit, but I don't really have a big role in those. We've always had our interface conference group, and that's a big part of our company. But obviously, when the pandemic hit, that kind of took a back seat. But we're hoping to start rolling those out again. We do have our student housing conference, which is always a big conference for us, and that's going to be in person in July. And then I know we're going to do a couple others soon after that will also be in person.
Okay, great. I can open it up for other questions. I don't know if anything has come in through comments yet, but if anybody has a question, feel free to ask it.
Kristin, this is Jennifer at CORFAC. I wanted to ask you about this because this is something I used to do in a former life. I used to be in a role much like yours. And so I wondered, do you ever have like slower news days or times where you're actually reaching out to firms or I guess reaching out to contacts that you might have at certain firms in your territory to try to kind of see what's going on and cultivate, like, hey, do you have anything going on that I could write about? Or do you mostly just look at your inbound press releases and take your information and your news from there?
Yeah, I would say I pretty much strictly rely on the releases I have. So if it's a slower news day or news week, then I might be pulling something that's a little bit older, but I haven't really reached out to ask for news.
Okay.
And then we did have a question come in. It says, how would you suggest we find the appropriate person or people at different publications to whom we should be sending press releases?
Yeah, I mean, we have our home page. You can go to rebusinessonline.com and you can find the About section, and it has all the editors. You can also just email me with any questions. I'm happy to help. My email is khiller@francemediainc.com.
I have a question for you. This is Allison from Patterson Woods. When we send press releases, do you prefer a specific type of format? Do you like it just pasted in the email or as an attachment?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I honestly prefer it straight in the email, so you don't even have to click on a PDF or Word file.
Okay.
But I receive them in all various forms. And I will say we like to publish photos whenever possible. So I do appreciate when the releases are attached with a photo.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding photos, I know that sometimes some of the buildings aren't the prettiest in the world. Does that really matter to you? I know that sometimes they say, it's not a great picture, we're not going to submit it. But would you rather have a picture than not a picture, even if it's not a pretty building?
Yeah, I would say I would rather have it. At least for the website, I'll pretty much always publish it. When I'm making our e-newsletter, and that's twice a week, that one is more so I'm considering the prettier pictures. But if it's a big deal, it's going to get run regardless of the photo.
Hey, Kristin, this is Jonathan in Chicago.
Hi.
So I, like a lot of people on this call, I scour a lot of different publications every day.
Gotcha.
And, most of the things you see are from the big boys, so to speak, the JLLs, the CBREs, et cetera. Is there a way, and I'm not suggesting there's a bias on your part or other publications' part towards the bigger companies, but is there a way from smaller independent firms like what's made up of CORFAC to be more eye-catching, something a little more appealing, or is it just because the bigger shops have a lot more people in their PR and marketing areas, and you just get a lot of information from them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I try to be a little bit, broad in publishing all different kinds of the releases I receive in different firms. I guess I would say a lot of the stuff coming from JLL or Cushwake is just very like straightforward, easy, and bigger deals. But I mean, I know I've received stuff from like L. Mason Capitani and Darwin, and I try to publish those whenever I receive them. So yeah, I mean, I guess since I am picking the ones that get published, it is my bias, but I try to be as objective as possible. So.
Kristin, I had another question for you. What is your policy or sort of your preference on things like advancements in, career advancements or industry award winners or other types of news that is more of that nature?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started, I feel like it was sometime last year, we started doing a personnel section in the magazine each month. So that's in print. We call it like our groundbreakers section. So I do flag those. I put them in a separate folder. So I'm publishing, I think 10 of those each month. But it's only in print. So people kind of will reach out to me and be like, hey, did you get this? Like, why am I not seeing this? And I'm like, well, we just do that in print. We don't have a place for it on our website at this time.
Anybody else? Okay. Okay.
So where are you based? Are you in Chicago?
No, our company is in Atlanta.
Okay. All right.
I think Jerry France is from Chicago, but we're all here in Atlanta.
Okay.
I do have one more question. Do you prefer something sent to you as an exclusive offer, or is it okay to just send it to you and to other publications at the same time? Is there a preference?
No, I don't think there's really a preference. I don't really consider anything I'm receiving really ever exclusive.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll get things on embargo, but I mean, that really doesn't do anything for me either. I'm just like, I'll publish it when it's available to be published, but I don't really need like the exclusive preview.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been turned down from Globe Street before because it wasn't exclusive. So
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how other publications or companies function. I mean, because I've only worked at France, so.
Good to know. Thank you.
Kristin, if somebody sends you a release or a story idea, and they don't see it come up in your daily material or your daily publications, or within, what's a reasonable amount of time to follow up with you? I mean, do you have sort of like a criteria, like once it's a certain number of days old, you're not gonna consider it, or do you have any sort of rules of thumb around that?
No, I mean, I would say just give me like a few days before you follow up. And I mean, we don't want to publish anything that's like a couple weeks old at that point, but anytime after like a few days, I mean, it's still in the running, because I only do publish 5 each day. So I have to kind of, keep the momentum going. So yeah.
Kristin, is there an appeal to you at all? I mean, obviously you get a lot of stuff in writing. Is there an appeal with video? I mean, is that something you do much of? Obviously that's only for digital, but.
Yeah, it's not, at least not right now. We don't really have a platform to include that. We're pretty, I would say, old school. We're trying to, get more digitally and do our digital editions and our webinars, but at our core, I feel like we're a print company at our core, so.
Any other questions? Well, I know that your France media, I mean, the publications cover everywhere there is a CORFAC firm, I believe. So across the US, that is. So it's great to have you with us today and to answer these candid questions that, like I said, we don't normally get to ask these. So it's wonderful to be able to have this little one-on-one and ask all those things that you wonder about sometimes when you're putting together press releases or pitches or that sort of thing. I think any last minute questions, anybody? Okay, I think we can kind of keep this short. It's a lot of great information. Thank you again so much for being with us today. And then, Jonathan posted in the comments your email address. So if anybody has any questions, they can email you and look up the publication online, check out today's news. And what did you say that today's topic was that you mentioned right before everybody jumped on?
Yeah, we call it our top story. So it's like the biggest story of the day. So we take turns writing that. So mine today it's Wash REIT. They're in Washington, D.C. So they are selling all their office assets. It was like $760 million worth of an office portfolio. So they're going to try to focus strictly on multifamily, get rid of all the office, all the retail. So
Did one company buy all their office stuff?
yeah, I believe it was a fund from was Blackstone, I think, one of the black ones.
Shocking.
All right, well, thanks everybody. Thanks for
Yeah, and
joining
I will
us
say,
today.
hopefully I was helpful. I haven't really done something like this before, but definitely if anyone has any questions, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer them.
No, this is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Kristin. And we'll share the video and your information after with our members afterwards. So thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.